Craig Setzer joining us with top of the hour and the latest on the storm.
Yeah, guys, and just so you know, the cranes are supposed to spin like that because they're basically wind vanes, and you want kind of the lowest profile of the crane in the wind. You don't want it sideways if the wind's blowing, so they don't lock it down. They let it spin like it. It's a crazy look, though, to look at the cranes just moving back. And it's scary looking. But they're also balanced because so if they spin, they're not going to like spin themselves out of control. What they're worried about is that the mast that holds them, that may not be able to hold the load, and then the crane would fall over sideways. So they are supposed to spin. I lived on South Beach for a while, and I was like, what is that? A very short while. Let's show you what is going on now with the radar, and the eye plainly in view, the core of the storm, the most concerning feature of the storm, also plainly in view, and now you can see the rain band starting to come on up. Here is the core of the storm, and this line right here, that is, I wish I could back it back out. You know what, I need another clicker, but we'll come back to that the next time. So here is the eye right there. The winds are very light in the eye, and then, thank you. That was perfect, Liz, thanks. So this line right here is 80 degrees west. There was a time when we were saying, let's hope it doesn't get to 80 degrees west, because the fear was that it would be here, and then this line, we didn't want to get to that line because it would be like this and come up like that and come right into us. But it is now past 80 degrees west. Yeah, I don't guess I need it now, but thank you. And so the fear was that it would come up 80 degrees west, but now it's past 80 degrees west. It would literally have to go due north, starting maybe in a couple of hours, for the core to hit South Florida. That is virtually impossible. I never say impossible with hurricanes, but that is virtually impossible. And as we go forward in time here, as that core back edge of this clears 80 degrees west, we will start to feel better about the core missing us. Not the hurricane, just the core. And then what determines how bad our weather is how close the core gets to us as it starts coming to the north. Some of the models, you may remember, showed a pretty abrupt turn to the north. Some showed a more gradual turn, but that's what we're going to be keeping an eye on for us as we go through the afternoon. Now the Keys, it's an entirely different situation, because as that's 80, that's 81, that line there, and Key West is over here near 82 degrees west. So the Keys, at this point, we'd be hoping that it goes past 82 and gets to the south from Key West, but it's starting to make its slow northward progress here, and so it's fairly unlikely that it's going to be able to make it past and south of Key West and turn to the north. So the big story is that the Keys, the island chain, is in the direct path of the core there, and the rest of South Florida is going to feel the hurricane side, the side of the hurricane. So they're once again close up on it, and you can see. And when we talk about a storm's integrity, it's that the eye has kind of a distinct band around it of the core winds, and that's what we're seeing. It's a little disrupted because it's going over the land here, but we're seeing that the storm is still very much intact. All right, so there are the Keys. Right now the storm is about 141 miles southeast of Key West and 124 miles south of Marathon there. And as we go through time, we're going to see that distance close as the storm starts to make northward progress. All right, so Miami-Dade and Broward, here's the way things look. Quick moving squalls now. These are moving about 55 miles an hour to 60 miles an hour. So these are zipping right along. And they have some very gusty winds with them and some power outages with them. Upstream, there's nothing for the moment. Next time something pops up out there, I'll let you know. And through the Keys chain right now, quite a bit of rain, not particularly heavy rain. In the hurricanes, when you get out of these big band squalls, you just get these small water droplets, but a tremendous amount of them, and that's it's capable of producing flooding, despite the fact that it doesn't look that impressive on the radar here. It's a lot of rain coming in lots and lots of small water droplets, as opposed to those bigger squalls where the raindrops are bigger. So moving on to the latest update, this is the 2 p.m. Intermediate advisory. We get updates now every hour. The next track forecast is at 5 p.m. 125 mile an hour winds. It's category 3. Now, we are just 5 miles an hour below category 4. And so every expectation is that once the storm gets back over water, we're back up to category 4. And it may happen even before the storm gets completely back over water, because it's so close to the edge there. Category 3 right now, but expecting category 4. And we were talking about this number yesterday. It still hasn't changed. So the storm still moving on that west-northwest track. maybe in the 3 o'clock number, we'll start to see that going up. Longitude 80, so it's past 80. The center is past 80, and 23 north, which is right there on the northern coast of Cuba, 145 miles as of the 2 p.m. advisory, southeast of Key West. There is the wind field. It's starting to come on into South Florida as well as the Keys. And here is the cone, and this is I'm showing the cone just for the time positions. That's the Sunday morning time position, the worst weather coming through the Keys, and we're in pretty bad weather here in South Florida. That's the Sunday evening position. The closest approach of the storm, as far as South Florida is concerned, is going to be during the day on Sunday. The weather's going to be quite bad tonight, even worse early when it's still dark, and a little bit worse and just howling wind through from sunrise until evening, howling. And then this is the 8 p.m. time frame here, and then after that it's further to the north. I want to stop at this point because I want to show how important what happens to the storm is here to the west coast of Florida, because and also talk about the cone. Remember, the cone only shows where the center is supposed to be, and then about 2/3 of the time. In this case, the cone probably contains where the core is. And for folks here in South Florida, this is why I hate the cone, because when the storm is close to you, it looks like we're out of the cone. At this point, the cone only represents the very worst of the hurricane. The hurricane is not pulling away from us. The hurricane is not getting farther away from us. The hurricane is going to be over us, but the worst of it is going to be right here. The cone's great 5 days out, 4 days out, even 3 days out. But when it's this close, the cone is small because we don't expect the center to be over here, and we don't expect the center to be over here. It's most likely going to be in the cone. So that is Sunday evening. Now let's go on into Monday morning. The significance of how bad this could be for the Tampa Bay area and all the communities along the Gulf Coast, Florida's west coast, it cannot be expressed strongly enough. It's going to be a bad event no matter what, but what could make it even worse is if the storm spends even more time over water here going up the coast. So then the wind goes around like the circle there. So the wind on the southern side of the storm, is pushing water as the storm passes right in, and with great force too. I heard somebody talking in my ear, but I'm not sure I heard what they said. Okay.
It wasn't us.
It was not. We are not the voices in your head, Craig. Not today. We're going to head over actually to Hank Tester right now because we have some incredible